Captain Fall. This is Netflix's newest adult animated series, which follows John Fall, a kind of dim-witted, naive person who gets hired by this shady black market organization to run a cruise ship that does all kinds of illegal things without his knowledge. So he's hired to be the fall guy, essentially, where the title comes from. John Fall, like I said, he barely passes his captain's exams. He's the bottom of his class, and he gets hired to be the captain of this black market organization, or at least he's the front of the ship. So if they get caught, he's going to take all the heat. This is a black comedy animated series, and I don't think the creators might call it black comedy, but I definitely consider it a black comedy. A lot of the comedies, it's very dark. I mostly enjoyed this show. I liked a lot of the humor. The animation is good. It's nothing crazy or inventive. It does what it needs to do. It looks nice, crisp, and clean. Nice, good animation. The humor for me hit off it, but not all the jokes hit for me. Like I said, it was a very dark comedy. There's a lot of human trafficking going on. There's a lot of drugs and smuggling. And I don't have an issue with those things, but some of that stuff didn't really hit. It was more like, ooh, this is feel a little uncomfortable. And I think it's just a little bit of my nature. If you go fully in, just enjoying the show, I don't think it's going to bug you, but it bugged me a little bit. Like I said, this follows John Fall, Captain Fall. I'm just going to call him Captain Fall. He's mostly kind of the focus of the show. Well, not really. He's supposed to be. His name is in the title, but he often isn't the focus. When we're on the boat, he is a little bit. I guess he's a little bit of our point of view character. Like I said, he's like this naive person who doesn't realize this is a black market ship. There's a bunch of shady things going around, and it does not click with him, even though a lot of times it's fairly obvious. And the crew of the ship is always just trying to convince him, like, yeah, this is normal, or this isn't a big deal. And because he's so gullible, he kind of falls for that stuff all the time. He's honestly barely a character. I do like him in some aspects. Like, I feel sorry for him. I don't know if we're supposed to feel sorry for him, but definitely a lot of the times I just kind of feel sorry for him because people either treat him like he's garbage or they're just straight lying to his face. Like, his parents pretty much hate him. In the beginning of the show, when he gets bottom of his class, he doesn't get assigned to a ship. He just kind of works for a kiddie boat ride type thing, and his brother and his parents just treat him like garbage. You can tell this is something that's been happening his entire life, which we find out as the show goes on, that they just don't like him for whatever reason, just because he's gullible or naive or nice. I don't know what it is, but they just do not like him, which kind of makes you feel bad for him because they treat him really badly. The people on the ship slowly kind of become his family, even though they're lying to him. That kind of often works, but not so much, because sometimes they just seem like they're really annoyed and hate him, but other times they feel sympathetic and they actually, like, that's our captain. He may be a goofball or naive, gullible person, but he's he gets things done sometimes. The times that I really liked them and I felt like the humor really worked for me was when he's like super naive about something and he helps the black market people like do something really bad without his knowledge. Like in the second episode, I believe it is, they capture a bunch of indigenous people, and one of them escapes, and he's trying to get off the boat and get on a life raft so he can tell people about this. And Captain Fall finds this indigenous person, and he thinks he's a child, and he captures them, while the rest of the black market people are having a hard time capturing him. It reminds me of that Simpsons episode where Homer works for that like super villain character. I forget his name, like Maximo or something. I can't remember his name. And like he keeps doing amazing things, and the company loves him, but his family's miserable. So like he stops like this James Bond type character, and like he's really appreciated by like he's unaware of what he's doing, but he's like, oh, good job, Homer. Thanks for stopping this good guy secret agent. So Homer's really happy. There's a few times where they do that with Captain John, and I feel it kind of works. I feel like that's maybe where the humor should be a little bit more, where he's like naive and everything, but he kind of helps this boat, do all these super dark, shady things and succeed. For the most part, it doesn't have any overarching storyline. A lot of the stuff with the boat is it's mostly standalone. Some things might come up a little bit, but we do have this other police officer named, I think he's the captain. I don't know if he's the captain. Sergeant Steele, I think is his name is. I know it's Steele. I just can't remember his rank. And he's trying to figure out this boat thing, because in the beginning of the show, they bust the first captain, who's like a really good captain, which I'm kind of surprised if he's so intelligent and smart, how he didn't figure out what they're doing on this boat, because they're not really good at hiding what they're doing on the boat. Like they're constantly drugging Captain Fall because they need to hide, hide what they're doing, or they messed up and they're like, oh man. They even put him in a coma for like 3 days or something like that to fix up the boat. It's wild, and if you're not naive, you're probably gonna figure out that something's wrong. So there's this police officer Steele, who's trying to figure out what's going on with these black market people, and the police are all idiots. Like almost everyone in the show is just not intelligent or nice. Only Captain Fall would be like the only character who's really like a nice person. Everyone else is either really unintelligent or just like bad people. So he tries to figure out what's going on with this boat, and at the end he finds the boat and he gets a bunch of evidence, and he believes that Captain Fall is this, the master of this evil organization. So it kind of ends at a cliffhanger where he's like jumping off the ship with all this evidence. So I'm assuming there's going to be a second season. Overall, like I said, it's a fairly enjoyable show. It's fun, dark comedy show. Very tame compared to a lot of those wacky, crazy, like other adult comedy shows. There's a lot of crazy stuff going on, but it feels a little bit more grounded. Like I said, a lot of the dark humor didn't work for me. I think it would have worked a little bit better if a lot of these people, these bad people, got their comeuppance. Because a lot of times in these shows, like, the good people and the bad people both kind of get it equally, so it's a little comedic. But I felt like the bad guys, especially the people who run the boat, they usually get away with everything. I mean, bad things do happen to them, but it feels like sparingly. Like, all the good people suffer way more. Like, there's this one where there's a human zoo, and the human zoo people break out, and you think there's two of them who escape, and they're about to get to the city, and you're like, oh, they're gonna make it and warn someone. But they end up getting eaten by tigers, and it was just like, oh man, this is I think it's supposed to be funny, but it didn't feel funny. It just kind of felt sad. I was like, oh shit, Like I said, there's a good amount of human trafficking going on, and sometimes they make it work and it feels a little bit funny, but a lot of times it's just like, I don't know, it's veering on the more uncomfortable end for me personally. Anyway, so that's the show. I want to say I give it a 6 out of 10. It's not amazing, but I think it's a good, decent show. It's enjoyable. It's something different that I would recommend. Just, hey, check it out. Check out a few episodes. It's a little bit of a slow burn, I think, in the beginning until we really get into more interesting aspects. Some of the characters are interesting. Lisa is the second, main character. She works for the underground organization, the dark, black market organization, and she's kind of the one in charge of the boat, actually, not Captain Fall. She does all the shady underground deals and try to keeps Captain Fall in line. They kind of imply a little bit that she does like him, not like in a love way, but she does care for him in a little bit. I think she's, the crew is starting to like him a little bit. Even, like I said, the message isn't clear. Sometimes they're annoyed with him, sometimes they do like him. So I think they could do a better job of that hopefully in the second season if they get one. Like I said, a 6 out of 10. It's a fine show. I do recommend you watch it. We don't get too many new adult animated shows. I know Netflix pumps them up, but a lot of time they just kind of fall by the wayside. So they don't really get a chance to, prove themselves or grow as a show. So I think it's always important to watch these shows. So maybe in the future it'll improve and it'll be a lot better. And let me know in the comments down below what you think. Did you like it? Did you hate it? Was it just boring? I think I saw a lot of people saying they couldn't even get past the first episode, but I think it gets a little bit better as it goes on. So I think a lot of people have a 3-episode rule. Like, watch 3 episodes. If you don't like it, fine. I personally usually watch all the way through unless it's something really, really bad, which I just don't think it's a really, really bad show. Alright, like I said, let me know in the comments below what you thought. Thank you for watching, like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out!